Okay, so I've made a little mind map here, and this mind map is entitled The Methodology of Enlightenment. And what I've done is made a drawing, which is essentially, well, a bunch of drawings within a drawing of just a further elaboration of drawings that I did to help me understand how defocused awareness worked and the different ways that you could approach defocusing awareness. So let me focus on the middle. So this is about defocused awareness, how to defocus awareness. The ways that you can defocus awareness are through awareness, through space, and through oneness. So let's start at the beginning. So what we have is this first drawing, which is just kind of a outline of the whole process. Here you are, you're sitting there, and what you have is one arrow, which is focused awareness, one arrow, which is defocused awareness, and one which is displaced awareness. Now, what I'm getting at here is that essentially when you're displacing your awareness, you're taking it outward from your body in your mind in any direction. When you're defocusing your awareness, you're essentially, generally, there's a sense of going inward, but I think that you could almost say that defocusing awareness and displacing awareness are synonymous. When you're focusing awareness, you're focusing on your physical body generally and or your thoughts and emotions. So if you want to begin to have any kind of self-awareness, spiritual awareness, self-realization, or enlightenment, the overarching principle of a methodology, or the methodology of enlightenment is that you first have to acknowledge or recognize that awareness is in a focused state generally, and that what you need to do is, in order to come into an unfocused, objectless state of awareness, you need to defocus your awareness and or displace it from your physical body, thoughts, emotions. Now, what I have here, moving on, I have these drawings. I have 9 different drawings of all the different ways that you can essentially defocus or displace your awareness from your physical body or your thoughts. So I'll just start with space. So as I said, you can do this defocusing of awareness or displacing your awareness from your body, thoughts, emotions, etc. through awareness, through space, and through oneness. So we'll start with space. So the first method of defocusing your awareness through space is illustrated through this drawing right here, which is, it's called expanding outward. And as you can see, what you're trying to do is you're trying to take your awareness and expand it outward in all directions from your physical body. That's basically the method. And what you're trying to see is not so much if there are limits to your awareness, but almost like you're saying, well, what are the limits to my awareness? How far can it expand in every direction? And you're trying to do that and see what happens and see what you experience. So that's basically the basic concept, and the drawing is just to illustrate and to clarify the basic principle. The next method is of defocusing awareness through space is called filling space. And so what you're doing is, it's a similar principle as expanding outward in all directions, expanding your awareness outward in all directions. Now what you're doing is the same thing. You're, say, in an enclosed structure, or your physical body's in an enclosed structure, in a room, a car, what have you, an office. And what you're trying to do is extend or use the your body is one reference point, and use, say, the walls or the structure as another point of reference, and you're trying to expand your awareness out into that space and to see if your awareness can expand beyond the boundaries or limits of your physical body or of your psyche. And so this one thing I want to point out, these are not intended to be anything like out of body experiences. What the interest in is purely in expanding your awareness outward and recognizing this expanded nature of awareness, this intrinsic kind of spiritual awareness. So I just want to make that one point. So you have these two methods, expanding of defocusing awareness through space, expanding awareness outward in all directions, and then filling space with your awareness. Now, the third method of defocusing awareness through space is called letting go. And you can see that the lines are kind of curved. It's kind of like a relaxed kind of, you're just kind of relaxing and just letting everything go. You're essentially, it's almost like with your awareness. I'm not talking about your mind. I'm not talking about your body. I'm talking about your awareness. With your awareness, you are floating, resting, relaxing. You could almost say allowing or yielding or opening or reclining, if you will, in space in a certain way. And so this just gives you an idea of just this sense of how you let go, essentially, with your awareness. And I think one thing to keep in mind is that what you are holding on to in reality is only one of two things. It's either you're holding on to some point in space or you're holding on to some energy. And the point in space, obviously, is, you can't hold any point in space. And likewise, you cannot hold any form of energy. So this is just the whole point of letting go, is to recognize that fact and to get at the underlying ultimate nature of reality by approaching it in this way. So these are the three methods of defocusing or displacing awareness through space: expanding outward in all directions, filling the space of a structure that your body is inside of, or letting go and just kind of relaxing your awareness in this kind of way that this picture kind of gives you a sense of. Now, defocusing awareness through awareness, there are also three methods. And what you have, the first method is going backward. So you have this little individual, and their form, their body is turned one direction, but their awareness is going another. So their body's going forward, but their awareness is going backward. So what you're doing is kind of taking your awareness and taking it straight backward. And if you take your awareness straight backward, then of course you're going to come into this just direct kind of awareness. So that just gives you a sense of how that works. Defocusing awareness through awareness. The second method of defocusing awareness through awareness is called turning inward. And so you can, I don't know if you can clearly see this man right here in the middle, but he has two arrows, one that's going out through the senses, which is outward, one that's going inward, going the other way, which is inward. And what you're doing is, if you look at those arrows, what you're seeing is one, the arrows coming in, and what you're doing is focusing on your psyche, your body, your mind, etc., the whole complex. And what you're doing is you're just taking your awareness and completely turning it 180 degrees from whatever you're focusing on. And this is turning inward. So you're turning your awareness completely inside out, completely inward. And that just gives a sense of how you do that. Now, defocusing awareness through awareness, the third method is just to drop everything. I mean, this is the whole notion of like total surrender. It's like it's not about inward, it's not about outward, it's not about backward, forward. It's just you just drop everything. It's not as relaxed and casual as letting go and gradual. It's like an instantaneous, suddenly you just drop everything. You say, I'm letting everything go. And you don't even make that assertion. You just drop it, basically. All your whole body, your thoughts, emotions, everything, and essentially see what's left. So that, I can't really elaborate that much further. It just gives you a sense of what that method is. Then there are three methods of defocusing awareness through oneness. The first is this method of merging with. So what you're trying to do, this is similar to what is being aimed for in the yogic traditions through the methods of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras of absorption and so on. But what you're doing is you're bypassing the object entirely. You're actually focusing behind the object, trying to get to the underlying oneness that's behind the object. So you're taking your awareness and kind of focusing essentially behind the object to try to perceive the underlying oneness. And that's merging with. Then you have the second method for defocusing awareness through oneness is going between. So now what you have is you have these two beings, and what you're doing, instead of taking your awareness and focusing on the other being, you're focusing on the space between the two beings and trying to perceive that underlying unifying oneness that's there. The third method for defocusing awareness through oneness is getting behind. And in this kind of method, what you're doing is you're actually not just merely going backward. This going backward is kind of like you're kind of moving your awareness straight backward away from your body, mind, etc. In this getting behind, what you're trying to do is actually get outside of your body or mind, get behind your body or mind, or even I'd say step outside of it, or get behind it, or get above it, or even you could say get beneath it. And so this is the third method for defocusing awareness through oneness. Just to kind of conclude this basic thing, as I've said, you have these basic three methods. The three methods of defocusing through space, letting go, filling space, expanding outward. The three methods of defocusing awareness through oneness, merging with, going between, and getting behind. And then the three methods of defocusing awareness through awareness, which are going backward, turning inward, and dropping everything. Now some of these, there are some overlaps between some of these methods, but I spelled them out into each of them into distinct methods just to give a variety of different ways to understand this. The key thing to understand is where your awareness is starting is from a point of being focused, and what you're trying to do is defocus your awareness or displace it from your body and your mind. And these are all methods of doing that. Letting go is a little different than dropping everything. Going backwards a little different than getting behind. And each of these methods has its insight to give to help people have this direct experience. So I hope that helps, and that's about it. Thanks.